Hello. Now let me give you a concept. There's this idea of taking an AI or an LLM and giving it poisoned data. This poisoned data is images or text that's some way modified in order to make the AI LLM generate output that is undesirable. It messes with image generation mostly. But it can also affect, the text itself and just start spitting out gibberish. I do believe that this is a good way to fight against, AI taking, maliciously stealing data from any source. By, implementing little bits of poison data, because it doesn't take much. Something in the range of parts per millionth in order to ruin an AI, something designated with, we love words, model collapse, and that's all good and whatever. That's not the point of this video. This is the groundwork, the foundation of what I'm trying to say, in which, now we already have a term for this, brain rot, but I want to put it in the data poisoning sphere of understanding, in which you have your mind, your brain, it's intelligence, it takes in stimulus signals and then outputs thoughts, motor movements, and from poisoned data, much like these images or these words that cause these AIs, LLMs, to stop giving output that is meaningful in any way, and instead, giving gibberish or just generally undesirable output. This is what happens to the brains of individuals that get data poisoning. Now, what is this data poisoning from? It is obviously from that damn phone and all that scrolling, but I think more so it's cultural. Whenever you have a way to give extremely novel information to a very broad audience, typically younger, then that novel information becomes the talking points, or at least something that is novel is something you talk about with your friends. Like, hey, look at this. It's out of the ordinary. Therefore, attention. And from that, people just keep creating more novel and novel ideas, although they are not actually meaningful in any way. It's simply a new combination of separate ideas melded together into this new form, new meaningless form, that has its own identity and therefore can be bequeathed a name. And from that, you get many of, there are countless examples of this happening in the culture. And then you get to the point where you have all of these different names and novel combinations of things. Some of them grow wildly popular, and the rest you just don't know exist. So from these novel creations, your kind of language changes, and instead of having a normalized culture of speaking, or at least communicating whenever there is some sort of meaning behind the communication, instead you are given a culture of novel communication in which you say new things that don't have any meaning behind them, but instead is a new novel way of saying some sort of thing, some combination of ideas, whatever it is, into, whatever you find that is your novelty. Lost my thought there. I apologize. But I hope you get my point with what I'm trying to say here, that your language changes and your culture changes towards a desire for this novelty. And now some people find it disgusting that you would simply just be saying things to be saying them without any meaning. And I'm on that side too. But there are times whenever you don't need to think like critically, and instead you're simply just speaking things in repetition, hoping to get some sort of social praise for it. That being laughs or giggles or whatever stimulus it is. And when that happens, you're not communicating anything meaningful. You can't build up anything meaningful whenever your foundation is simply a meaningless novelty. So, if you want meaning in your life, don't get data poisoned. And that data being these novel things, changing your culture. You get my idea. And I'm basically telling you, stop the brain rot and have meaningful conversations, because it's what, gives life meaning and builds deeper connections, way deeper connections than any spread of novel information and meaningless information could. Anyways, toodles!